In tonight's notes, we continue talking about different types of transformations, and tonight's topic is the reflection. A reflection is a transformation in which a figure is flipped across a designated line. This is also an isometry, and the orientation does change. So that part is different from the translation. So while it is an isometry like the translation, the orientation changes unlike a translation. This is a picture of a reflection. We essentially take something and then we flip it upside down, or flip it over something, I should say. A special kind of reflection is what we call a glide reflection, and this is actually a composition of transformations. So it's essentially a translation first and then a reflection second. A composition of transformations is just two or more transformations of a figure. The first image, the first time we transform something, we name it with prime notation. We talked about that last video. The second time we transform something, we name it with double prime notation, so essentially two apostrophes, and then triple prime, and so on and so forth, depending on how many times we transform something. Okay, so what we need to know about reflections is if a figure is reflected over a line and then again over a line parallel to the first, then the composition of the two reflections is a translation. So if we take something and we flip it across a line and then we flip it across another line that's parallel to it, essentially what we've done is we've just taken our figure and slid it down to a new location. So the composition of reflections in parallel lines is a translation. And finally, if we reflect something across intersecting lines, so if we reflect it across one line and then another line that is also intersecting the first, then the first figure is a rotation of the second figure. So a rotation is something we haven't talked about yet, but it's exactly what it sounds like. It's taking something and then spinning it to a different location, essentially. Okay, so reflections in intersecting lines is a rotation. Reflections in parallel lines is a translation. Okay, actually reflecting something is very, very easy. You do need to know how to graph lines though, because a reflection is a transformation where we flip the figure across a line. So you'll need to know how to graph horizontal lines, you'll need to know how to graph vertical lines, and you'll need to know how to graph the lines y equals x and y equals negative x. Those are the three types of lines that you will need to know how to graph in order to do this unit. So I'm going to show you how to graph reflections in class. They're actually quite simple, but again, make sure that you brush up on how to graph horizontal, vertical, and y equals x or y equals negative x lines. And I'll see you guys in class.